Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So today I want to talk to you about upgrading or just getting a better violin. But before I do go into the crux of the video, I just want to inform you all about my 1 to 30 violin course that I have sitting next to me. I know a lot of you are new to this channel. I know a lot of you are old. Maybe you're sitting on the fence and you're maybe thinking about it. But if you didn't know, I have a 1 to 30 violin course, and if you'll just indulge me for a few moments, I just want to tell you all about it. I promise you it will be worth it. So my 1 to 30 violin course that I have just down here in front of me, it absolutely guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very decent, accomplished intermediate player. And that course is absolutely guaranteed. If you follow all 30 of my lessons, this course is tried and tested, and I've been teaching it privately with my own students for the last 20 odd years. So it is tried and tested, and I can assure you it works. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. So first of all, my course takes you through the basics of holding the instrument, the violin and the bow, how and where to bow, as well as teaching you to read music, which I think is really important and probably one of the most popular questions that I get asked about my course. Throughout the course, you're also going to be going through scales and arpeggios along the way, which is needed for precise technique and intonation. You're also going to be covering and learning theory that's going to be accompanying the practical element of things, and it's going to go hand in hand with the exact standard of the work that you're going to be covering in the book. You're going to be working your way through many exercises and pieces that have all been arranged for the correct standard of each level for each book, whilst learning to read music. And this is going to be done all in the comfort of your own home, at your own pace, in your own time, whenever, wherever, however you like. You're going to be suitably challenged along the way, and you're going to be learning fast, efficiently, but most importantly, professionally and competently. So this is an interactive online course that comes with books and videos. All the links and all the QR codes are going to be in the video, so you can watch them whether you've printed out the book or whether you're clicking on the links on the book on your computer or your device, whichever is up to you. And this book course can be purchased and downloaded directly from my online shop, which I will put links directly underneath this video. The course is available to absolutely anyone, anywhere in the world, and you can learn at your own pace in the comfort of your own home. But finally, the best part about this book course is that the first 10 lessons are absolutely free, along with any of the resources, backing tracks, or anything like that needed. So that's going to give you an idea of my teaching style, how you get on with it, how far you think you're going to get, whether you're actually going to like the violin before you invest in a course or anything like that, because I know it's really important to see whether you're going to like something before you start shelling out loads of money and then decide that it's not quite for you. So the first 10 lessons are absolutely free, so please do go ahead and knock yourself out with that. You can watch all of the videos as well. They're all available to watch on YouTube. I have absolutely nothing to hide. I absolutely promise you that by the time you get to lesson 10, you're not going to want to stop, and you're going to want to carry on beyond that. Okay, so there is no real kind of hard and fast answer to this question. If you were looking for a specific time or a specific moment in time that you need to upgrade to a better violin, I'm afraid there isn't really an actual answer, but I just wanted to kind of give you a few options and a few opinions. So you can basically upgrade to a better violin at any time that you like. A better violin is never ever going to hinder you. A rubbish cheap violin is absolutely going to hinder you, and I know a lot of you know my thoughts and feelings on those, and I'm talking about the kind of less than $100 violins. They're vile. They really are bad, and I'm sorry to any of those of you that do have those violins, but they are incredibly poor, and they are very hindering on your playing. Two kind of grievances I have with them is the fact that they are almost impossible to tune. A lot of people say that their pegs won't move. It's just because you've got a cheap violin. They're not designed to move, so you can't even tune the violin. If you can't tune the violin, you can't play the violin. And the second point with them is that the bridges are often very, very flat. So that means no matter what you do, no matter how hard you play and how hard you practice, you're always going to hit every other string all the damn time. And that's so frustrating as a violinist. It's the number one frustrating thing as a violinist, and something that you want to kind of eliminate quite quickly into your new violin learning career. So you're just not going to be able to do that if the violin you're playing on is very poor quality. I do appreciate that a lot of you can't afford any more than that. You know, I get it, I do. But what I would just say to that is just keep on saving until you can find something much better. You know, if you want to play the violin, you want to play the violin. But everybody knows the old saying, buy cheap, buy twice. You know, if you buy a blunt pair of scissors or a pair of rubbish scissors, they're blunt, they're not going to cut anything. So you've got to just toss those scissors in the bin and just buy some proper scissors. So it's wasting time and effort and frustration just buying the cheaper things in the first place. The other alternative is to rent a violin. But I mean, you can get a good cheap basic starter violin for about, I want to say about $250, $260. The Fiddler Man sells them in the US. They're his Tower Strings violins, and I want to say the Entertainer, I do believe is his is the entry point to the Tower Strings violin, and I want to say it's something like $260 off the top of my head. In the UK, you can buy something like the Stentor 2. That's an okay violin. It's not the greatest violin, but it's certainly not a rubbish violin that's going to hinder you. So as for upgrading, if you want to go in and buy something a lot better, the Fiddler Man do a huge range of violins at every single price point that you can possibly imagine. And yours truly here has reviewed near enough the entire range. So I'll put the playlist of all those videos that I've reviewed. I've done comparison videos. I've played them all side by side, back to back, all that kind of good stuff. So you can choose depending on, you know, the sound, the feel, my opinion, all that kind of thing, and go and watch those videos and make your decision and make your educated decision from there. If you're still not sure from that point onwards, you know, go ahead and email the Fiddler Man. He'll be more than happy to kind of help you out in choosing, but that's probably a good place to start. So I'll link the playlist underneath. As for the UK, if you can get yourself to a violin luthier, you might be able to find something there just for a few £100s, and they'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the violin. So as I said, upgrading, you can upgrade at any time. I would always recommend that you upgrade to something as soon as possible, or the best case scenario or the most ideal scenario is that you start with something a lot better. I'm not saying that you have to start with something $500, $600, $700 or $500, $600, £700 to start with. For some of you, that might just be absolutely ridiculous. And I agree, you know, for something that you don't know whether you're going to continue on with, that's quite a lot of money if you're not quite sure and you want to trial it out. I get it. If you do know that you are going to play it, then absolutely go ahead and spend that money. You're only going to be a lot better, a lot quicker. The other point about having a much better violin to start with is that any issues, any kind of little niggly bits or anything that's not quite going right or sounding right with the violin, you know is going to be down to you and not the violin. And that's a good thing, because if it's you can work harder, you can practice, you can find a solution, and you can get better at it. If it's the violin, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about that. If there's something wrong with the violin, if the bridge is too flat, you're hitting all the other strings, that's a violin issue. There's nothing you can do about that. You have to change the violin. So if you do have something better, or the better the violin is, the more quickly you will find out whether anything that doesn't sound quite right, any kind of rubbish playing, so to speak, is going to be your issue. And that's fine, because you can sort that out rather than having to sort out the violin. The last thing you need is you having issues, the violin causing issues, the violin's causing you issues. You're kind of, you're getting yourself in a bit of a catch-22. Then you're thinking to yourself, is it me? Is it the violin? Is it the violin? Is it me? You're just constantly chasing your tail and going back round again. So that's it really. I could just talk and talk and talk about this subject forever and ever and ever, but I'm not going to. But my point is that you can upgrade at any time. The better the violin that you start with, the better, quicker, the more efficiently you're going to learn and you're going to get through it. And the whole thing is just going to be more pleasurable to start with, because you're not playing with a cheapy, you know, $50, $60, $70 violin that's just so heavy and bulky and just doesn't really sound great on top of that. So I hope that has answered the question. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.